I, 19 female, had surgery a couple of days ago to get all 4 of my wisdom teeth out, and because I have a horrible fear of dentists, they had to drug me pretty hard to remove them. Not like laughing gas that wears off fast, but actual IV medicine, so I was pretty much unconscious during the whole thing. They told me to have a responsible adult drive me to the appointment and back because the meds they gave me would make driving dangerous. My mom was on a work trip and couldn't take me, so I asked my sister-in-law, Bree, 24, not her real name, if she could do it as the whole thing would only take an hour or 2. I even offered gas money because the dental office is about 45 minutes away. I would have asked my brother, but he works during the day while Bree is a stay-at-home mom to their toddler daughter, who I think was at Bree's mom's house that day. Bree agreed to take me to my appointment and the surgery went fine. Bree waited in the lobby for me to be done. When I came out of anesthesia, I was very disoriented and nauseous, which I guess is normal. I had gauze shoved in my mouth to stop any bleeding, and Bree took me to her car after I was led out. I don't really remember much of the drive, but it felt like not enough time passed before Bree got out of the car and told me to come with her. After that, I was really out of it and just followed her because the alternative was staying in the hot car. Long story short, we were at a pool. I was really confused, but once we were through the gate, Bree basically parked me at one of those little table benches and said she'd be back in a while. I was trying not to puke and was really dizzy from the heat, 90 plus degrees, and the drugs, so I asked her to take me home, but she wouldn't. So I guess she was meeting friends at the pool since it was her day off and she didn't have my niece. I was starting to feel really sick and on the verge of passing out or having a panic attack, so I called my brother. I don't think he could understand me between the meds and the stuff in my mouth because he hung up and, I guess, called Bree because she came stomping back over, cussing and yelling at me and took me back to the car. I passed out on the drive home, but when we arrived, my brother had left work and met us in the driveway. He was screaming at Bree and she was crying. I was still pretty disoriented, but my brother took me back home and stayed with me until the meds wore off. That's when he told me he was divorcing Bree because of what she did, plus some other things he didn't go into detail about. It's been a few days since then, and Bree has been blowing up my phone, telling me what a witch I am and how my tattling destroyed her family. Part of me feels bad because of my niece, and I wonder if I should have just dealt with it and waited for her to be done at the pool instead of calling my bro and causing problems. Am I the idiot? Oh, honey, not the idiot at all. While I understand how you think you should have just sucked it up and kept quiet, you were also post-op and under the effect of heavy drugs. What she did was very irresponsible and childish. I also don't think that's the sole reason why your brother is thinking of divorce. Sounds like the final nail in the coffin, though. Their marital problems are not yours and are in no shape or form your fault. OP, you are not the reason they're getting a divorce. But if you find out the reason, please come back and update because inquiring minds want to know. And please tell your brother what your sister-in-law is doing to you. He would want to know that she's harassing you. Oh yeah, this was just the final straw. I feel there's a long list of her being irresponsible, most of which related to caring for their daughter. That's just an assumption I'm making, but Bree has proven she doesn't care about people's well-being. Since Bree referred to it as tattling, there's a good chance she was lying to your brother about what she was doing that day. Maybe he was mad that Bree lied about who was watching their daughter. On the other hand, maybe she met some guy at the pool or had been obviously thirsty over the lifeguard. Whatever it was more than just the already vile behaviour of leaving someone in pain and doped to the gills just parked in the heat while she had fun at the pool. This is in no way your fault. Update. Am I the idiot for ruining my brother's marriage because his wife left me at the pool? First, thanks to everyone who read the original post and reassured me. It helped a lot, and I understand now that my bro's marriage was rocky before Bree pulled the stunt. Here's my update. I called my bro to check on things, thanked him again and to see how he and my niece were doing, and he told me some things about Bree and why he's divorcing her. I don't think she's cheated on him or anything like a lot of people in the original post thought, at least my bro never said anything about that, but y'all were right about the incident with me being the straw that broke the camel's back and that I'm not the only victim of Bree being careless. A while back, I guess my bro came home early from work and found my niece, toddler, alone in their house with the front door unlocked. He called Bree 3 or 4 times with no answer, and she came in the front door right before he was about to call the cops. Apparently, she went to the convenience store about a 5-minute drive from their place and left my niece by herself. When my brother yelled at her, she said it was fine because nothing bad happened, and when he saw the door was unlocked, she just said she must have forgotten and that it wasn't a big deal. Her phone was silenced on the charger in their bedroom, which is why she didn't answer when he called. Bree called him dramatic and told him to stop telling her how to parent, and that the niece was fine for 20 minutes while she shopped for dinner stuff. My bro is taking some time off work to care for my niece because he kicked Brie out of their house the same day I had my surgery. She's staying at a hotel that bro is paying for, and he gave her 2 weeks, more like 1.5 now, to find a place before he quits paying for it. He says he's going for full custody because Brie is a danger to my niece and doesn't trust her anymore. She tried to argue when he kicked her out, but he threatened to call the police for what she did to me, which I guess scared her because she left. Sorry it isn't a very exciting update, but that's all bro would tell me. I think this isn't the first time Brie neglected niece too, but he said he's doing what it takes to make sure it doesn't happen again. He also said he doesn't think that Brie is completely malicious, but is exceptionally careless and doesn't believe her actions affect other people, which is why she can't be trusted not to hurt others by being selfish. I'm doing well after my surgery, even after everything that happened, so thank you all for the good wishes and advice. I'm glad things worked out okay, OP. Maybe Brie's not a bad person, but she clearly has a problem making decisions that are so irresponsible that they put other people in danger. I can't blame your brother at all for wanting to end the relationship for the sake of his family's safety. I wonder if she was always careless or became so during or after birth. I wonder if this is linked to postpartum depression or behavior. But yes, 10 out of 10 she is a danger to your niece and was to you in that incident. I agree with your brother's actions. And of course, you are not the idiot, and I hope you heal up, my friend. I, 32 male, met my wife, 32, at high school, and we dated back then, but when I decided not to go to uni, she told me we were in different places in life, so we broke up. Time passes, and I meet her again, and she asks if I want to go out for a coffee. My brother, Luke, bought a house, and we reformed the basement to be a rented flat. Luke rents his flat to Jules, and he falls hard for her. And she's a cheerleader. My wife calls her Disney Jules, in not a nice way, but I told her to knock it off, and she did. I was in a car accident and broke my leg, and it was a big deal. I had to put some pins on it and basically learn how to walk again. My whole family supported me, and I moved to my brother's flat as I couldn't use the stairs and needed help for doctor's appointments. My wife hated to leave our place. I got better, but my mind started to sink. I had no job and no idea what to do. My wife told me I should have chosen better, maybe gone to college. That didn't help. Jules' sister, Layla, came to visit her while her husband, Joe, was on a sealing boat in the direction of the South Pole. And man, that family is impressive. I told her about how I have no job and how it's hard for me to work for a long time sitting or walking. She told me I should look for an industrial design course because of my old job. I told her I had no idea what that was and I bet I would be terrible at it. She took me to a design job fair and I loved it. I signed up for a course that day. I told my wife about it and she told me that a 6-month course would not give me enough money for a family. Jules and Layla didn't let me give up. For real, they gave me a table that would lift and a running machine for me not to stay too long sitting. I did the course and in 4 months I already had a job, and now 2 years later I'm doing as much as I did in the factory. So Luke and Jules are getting married and Layla and Joe come to the wedding. As expected, the dude is great. So I wanted to say thank you to all people that helped me from there to here. So at dinner at my parents' house I gave out some presents. To Layla and Joe I gave sports tickets, to my parents I finished to pay their house, and to Luke and Jules I gave them their honeymoon. I wasn't poor, I moved to Luke's house for physical and mental health, not money. My wife asked for her present. I told her that we would be back at our house and I wanted to make a trip for the two of us, but I would let her choose where. She started yelling at me, saying she wanted something now since everyone was getting something. I told her that she was getting the trip, and she told me that I should have given her the most significant present since she needed to lay down by my side every night. That made me feel like the idiot. I took her from her home to a basement and I had nothing to give her there, but I thought planning the trip together would be a nice thing to do together. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Honestly, I'm surprised after my wife told me that I should have chosen better, maybe gone to college, that you stayed with her. Then she tried to discourage you from taking a course because it would not give me enough money for a family. My guy, you need a whole new wife. She's not supportive, and who says they deserve something for being the person who sleeps next to someone they're supposed to love? She's essentially reaping the best gift of them all. She should be grateful that her husband is the one gifting these fantastic things instead of thinking about what she can get right then and there. It's very selfish of her to only think of herself, considering what your sister-in-law has done for you. You are the idiot. Why are you still with your wife when you so obviously hate her and are resentful of her? You didn't say one single positive thing about her at all throughout the whole post. Every sentence that mentioned her was dripping with unconcealed contempt. I couldn't imagine staying with someone I thought so little of. Are you sure you want to stay with someone who treats you and others around you as inferior? What does she bring to the relationship except laying by your side every night? Your family and sister-in-law all seem like amazing people who have your back, and that's what family should be about. Not criticizing you for not making the right life choices, and then berating you again for not making the right gift choices. You deserve better, OP. I have a young teen son with my ex-wife and an infant son with my current wife. My ex lives in another country and my son just returned from spending 6 weeks with her. So no, the trip's timing had nothing to do with the fact that my wife had just given birth. This trip is at the same time every year and is outlined in our custody agreement. Our agreement is very strict. The most detailed section of the agreement pertains to our son's religious upbringing. In addition to assuring that certain holidays will always be observed, our agreement also forbids either of us from taking our son to any service or ceremony for a different religion. My wife is not a member of my religion and she's not particularly religious. However, her father wants to host a religious ceremony from their religion that will welcome our son into the world. My wife and I agreed to this, as it's a beautiful tradition and involves giving to the poor and other lovely moments. My wife invited my son, who said he wanted to go. I had the unfortunate task of telling him he couldn't go because of my agreement with his mother. He asked if we could call her and request an exception, since this is for his brother. I thought that was very reasonable. We scheduled a time to get up early to call her, 7 hours later there. My son made his request and my ex said no. She doesn't want our son to have anything to do with my wife's religion, which she's not fond of. Our son explained he just wanted to be there for his brother, but she said she wouldn't change her mind. Now my wife is mad. She said if I hadn't said anything there would be no issue and my ex would never know. She said I created the issue and now my older son will miss an important family moment. She also brought up that she attended an important religious moment for my son while 7 months pregnant and extremely uncomfortable because she's willing to put in the effort to make our blended family work and said I couldn't even keep quiet about one thing. While I think my ex was unnecessarily strict, I don't think it's okay to lie to her, by omission, about our son. Am I the idiot for abiding by my custody agreement and not lying to my son's mother? Not the idiot. When there's a legal agreement involved, don't even think about lying about what you're doing. You're abiding by a promise you made. I get it if your wife doesn't like it, but she shouldn't blame you for following it. And honestly, I'd go ahead and schedule some counselling sessions if your wife thinks just lie is how you get around inconvenient legal barriers to just doing what you want. You gain nothing from making your ex-wife angry and handing her ammunition that you're trying to influence your son against her. Everyone's the idiot here. I think it's morally wrong for anyone to make religious decisions for a teenager. He should be allowed to come to his own conclusions about religion or lack thereof. I hope you will try to renegotiate this agreement with input from your son because, at his age, he should have a say in this sort of thing. Recently, my girlfriend posted some pictures of our 2-year anniversary online to share with her friends and acquaintances. She said most of the comments were nice, but 3 women were former classmates of hers who seemed very jealous of her. She read me their comments and one said she didn't deserve to have such a hot boyfriend and that I should be with her instead. Another one said she was too geeky and I'd leave her for a prettier girl like her eventually, and the other one was in a similar vein. Of course, I didn't think they were too kind, but I still felt flattered about it, so I told her I found that pretty flattering and that she shouldn't worry about it. She then asked me how that was flattering and claimed they were insulting her. So while I don't think it's too kind, I don't think it's really insulting. They're just envious of our happiness and would want the same for themselves. Am I the idiot for not taking offense? You are the idiot. Whoa, holy narcissism. Well, buddy, newsflash. The sheer fact you find those comments flattering means your girlfriend is too good for you and deserves more than your sorry butt. You have a giant ego and clearly you do not value your girlfriend because you don't seem to be bothered by her insulting people. It makes me wonder if you think you're too good for her. Bro, your girlfriend's not friends made comments insinuating you're too good for her and too hot for her and that you'll leave her. This made her feel insecure and threatened. Instead of ignoring it or reassuring her or calling them names with her, you puffed out your chest and told her how nice it was for them to say you're too hot and too good for her. LOL, no, that is not what they were saying at all. Agree. I don't think the comments were actually about you, but bullying your girlfriend. I think it could have been almost anyone else in that photo and they'd be the same comments. It's also rather insulting to her that this is what you took from those comments. They wanted to hurt her with those words. Encourage her to block them and move on. But you've taken the wrong thing from those comments.